So this is a review of some of the charts that I look at. I'll focus on crypto because as I always say, they have the best charts, the best data that you get directly from an exchange, and it's very smooth data. It's very clean data. So let's look at. I look at four charts mainly: Bitcoin, Link, BNB, and Ether. So let's look at Bitcoin. For the 4 hour chart is a classic time period to look at it. It explains everything. So let's look at this scope here. This time frame, 4 hours. So let's see what's happening. I mean, we can see the general price action. So what I like to do when I look at a chart, so I don't use indicators. So I like to give some structure to the chart, and the way to do that is to draw in some key levels and trend lines. So let's draw in some trend lines first. Let's see what we can draw. Okay, so we don't need to just look at the most recent price action here. To understand the chart, you need to just analyze what's visible on the chart. So let's draw some parallel trend channels. First of all, we can see that the price rise from here to here was reasonably consistent. I mean, there's no trend channel that fits nicely, so I'll just draw one here. So you can see the price rise from 22,000 all the way up to here, up to about 37,000 was consistent, and then it went into an overbought situation, which it exceeded the top of the previous trend channel, and then it came back into the trend channel and below, and now it's going sideways. So let's draw a couple of more trend channels here. Okay, so then there was a consistent move down, and you can see by the angle of it, I mean the angle to the vertical line, it's reasonably similar, going up and going down, but not as pronounced. Of course, the move up was much more pronounced. So I wouldn't call this a move down. I would call this a natural reaction. And there's many ways of looking at it. I mean, you can look at it if you want. I don't do it that often, but it's reasonable. You can look at it, Fibonacci retracement, and you can see the move from here to here, how much the retracement was. I mean, that can give some indication of the nature of movement in some charts. It's personally, I don't do it. I have used it in the past, but that can be useful. So let's draw one final parallel channel. So let's look at this the last move. Well, the current move it's in. So it's a consistent move from about 29,000, and now we're at 39,000. So it's a consistent angle again. So this gives us some framework for the three recent significant moves in the 4 hour. Now we can draw some key demand and supply zones. So this is the next thing to do. So of course we can draw one around the all-time high. So interestingly, what we see immediately, the all-time high around $41,000, $42,000. This recent move up to close to $41,000, it didn't touch the zone which is where supply and resistance came in for the all-time high. That's quite interesting, because I would expect it to touch that zone having made this move. So okay, let's look at conclusions in a minute, but let's keep on drawing some key zones. I don't like to draw too many, but I just want to draw enough so that we get an idea of the key price actions going on. So this previous swing high, we can see it's been exceeded, and I will just draw one more. So around about here. Okay, so you can see this level respected a few times, and this is a fantastic level. In fact, if you go left, you'll see some more, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times price action has touched that level. So what this means is, so in general it's bullish, of course. I mean, if we zoom out a little bit more, we will see that price has gone up from, this is 16,000. But if you go, even lower, but less than a year ago, in March, it fell to $3,000. So it's been on a very powerful rise since then. There's some indications that, again, this retracement is not a collapse. It's not a move down. It's just a natural reaction after a significant rally. So we can see that it is on a trend up. So if you're looking for trades, in general, I say trade with a trend you should be looking for long positions rather than shorts. Personally, I don't trade shorts anyway. And if you're looking at clues for what price action could do in the short term, I mean, my view is price action. It moves in between key levels. So these are the 3 key levels we have. So there's every reason to expect it might go to this key level, about $40,000 again, and then we don't know. So at the moment, it's respecting this trend channel up. If it stays within this trend channel, we could see a move up in the trend channel to around about $42,000 if it's going to respect the trend channel. No, the trend will continue until it stops continuing. Then one interesting thing to note is that, again, if you look horizontally, let me move this across. We have quite a medium to long term structure developing. So here, right? So one of the things that price can do, if it's going to spend some time in this area, and we don't know if it is. I mean, it could go below this structure, it could go above the structure, and I don't have any bias or opinion towards it. If it does, I have no expectations. But this is effectively, price spending time in this broad structure. So it is a broad structure from $30,000 to $42,000, $12,000 wide structure. And, this is something that I always look for within a chart. So effectively, I mean, price has gone, it's done two cycles, you can say, to the bottom of the structure and to the top. So it's reasonable to expect that if it's going to spend some time in this structure, which it may well do, we could expect it to reach the top, which it hasn't quite here, and then come back to the bottom and then carry on. So price will often stay within the structure unless there's market forces that act to take it outside of the structure. So this gives us some, let me delete them. This gives us some overall structure of Bitcoin. So in terms of what I would do in terms of looking for trades, let me clear this large rectangle if I can. What I would do in terms of looking for trades or setups, really, I would really, just wait for price to come to key levels, and it's been at this key level. I would wait for it to come to this level, and then see if it's likely to rebound off this level or go to the top. And this is 4 hours, so this gives us a good overall view of what's happening in the price. But if you're looking for immediate price actions, if you go to the 15 minutes, for example, so you can see some interesting things happening here. I always look for structures at key levels. So, a relatively recent good, fantastic trading point would have been about here. Within this structure, we developed for some time. We had a breakout, retracement, and then a breakout, and then a retest. You can see here to this level of initial breakout. So these have all presented good trading points. The original spring was here, of course, and then retest of the spring. And again, you see patterns in all time frames, so if we can draw other parallel trend channels to capture this move. I'm doing this quite quickly, right? But just want to give you an idea. So if you have a trend channel in the 15 minutes, you can see it's within the broader 4-hour trend channel, and you can see some things immediately that, it was within the trend channel 2 or 3 cycles, it broke out, then it retested effectively what was the top of the trend channel. And also if you look left, it was this previous swing high, then it went to an overbought condition over the top of the trend channel, and it didn't spend that much time there, came back into the trend channel. And now, it spent some time below the trend channel, but recently on the 15 minutes, so in the last 30 minutes, we've seen a significant move in the short-term time frame back into the trend channel. So you can see spend time above the trend channel and then below the trend channel. So again, this gives a good localized area to assess the price movement. And so we do see structures. I mean, there were plenty of good trading opportunities. I mean, this was a good trading opportunity here with a structure and the localized high and the breakout. So there wasn't a retest here. Sometimes in crypto, you don't get that many retests. So it's reached, you can see it's moving as I'm talking. So it's reaching this localized high, and it's reached it very, very swiftly. If you just look at the range of move, it's almost a violent move, right? If you look at the last time it reached this level, compare the angle here to that, it's a completely different nature of the move. But it's nothing to get too excited about. You do see these moves. And where would I see? I mean, the immediate localized high I expect to be here, which is the previous high. So you expect to see volume coming in, which you see it here. And I don't know if it's going to break this level or not. I never anticipate, but it's a very swift move from here to here. And we'll wait to see over the next couple of candles how it reacts to the supply coming in. So you can see supply coming in here. and it's still moving up at the moment, but it hasn't cleared this high. So I mean, you can see interesting things even if you go to the 1 minute. What's the best way to the 1 minute? Okay, so if you go to the 1 minute, you'll see this is not the 1 minute. Okay, this is the 1 minute, right? Yeah. So I mean, you can see this move on the 1 minute. It looks a bit ridiculous, right? So 1 minute also presents good trading opportunities, and you see many. You know, I've talked about trend lines. They occur in all time frames, trend channels. So you can see, you know, there's one here on this move down, and then on the way up, we can see a broad trend channel here. I mean, there's a couple of levels of trend channels here. I could draw another one. Okay, so as clearly it's broken this quite clearly. And we can see with the volume, right? You can see the volume is exceptionally high. It's, so I don't know if something's happened in the market in the last few minutes. This is from 39,000. Well, it's $1,000 in a couple of minutes, 4 minutes. So it's a rapid move. So we see some supply coming in here. And if you look at the 5 minute, so you can see, you know, it's at this level. So there's a lot of buying and selling going on here. You can tell by the minute, the volume of the 5 minute. I don't really know what's going to happen. It's just coincidence that this has happened while I'm making the video. But this, you know, is such a sharp move in a very short amount of time. It looks like, you know, it might be some short-term manipulation. We haven't seen any move like this in the chart, you know, certainly in what's visible here. It could be a short-term manipulation just to take some longs, you know, to take out some people who were short, maybe to encourage fear of missing out buying in these candles. That often happens, and then smart money could sell at the top. So as you can see with the candles, I mean, how to check. So if you can see that the volumes, right? So just give you a quick lesson on volume. So this first green candle, which is very, very high, it had a high volume here. The next candle, which is almost, you know, twice the volume, about what I would say 80% higher than the previous candle in volume. But look at the range. The range is less than this candle. All right? If it was all buying like in this one, then you'd expect it to go up higher. So a lot of supply has come in, and it's cleared that level now, and it's still going a bit higher. So you can see supply is coming in, but demand isn't as visually as you can see. It's in control. It's clearing the supply that's coming in. So this is an interesting price action happening now. Let's go back to the 1 minute. So in the 1 minute, you can see, you know, the two highest volumes were here, and this is where supply came in significantly with this wick at the top, and it's broken this level, and it's retested, and it's carrying on. So I don't know where it's going to end up. It's still going up, as you can see. Let's look at the 1 hour. So it's cleared this previous high. So when I was talking is at this previous high, you can see it's smashed it. So this is something significant going on. I mean, I have my long positions in Bitcoin. I took them at the lower part of the long-term range at the moment. So, you know, there's something significant happening now. So we'll come back to this in a minute. The next chart is Link. So again, this has had some good price actions. On the 4 hour, we can draw some trend channels. We can draw it from here, for example. So you can see, you know, price has been, let's draw it here. It's been respecting this trend channel quite a few times on the way up. It's still staying within the trend channel. So, you know, there's every reason to assume this trend will continue until it doesn't. And potentially good trading opportunities here and here with these candles and the price action. So you can see the volume at the moment. Everything looks low because we had high volume here. So interestingly, you can see when high volume occurred here. So there's a big spike up. Supply came in, but demand was very powerful. And interestingly, you can see that only once since then price had retouched this level with a good spring action. And this would have been, you know, a very good time to go long. But there's not much to say here. I mean, price is comfortably continuing to rise at a steady pace. And this is no indication. So indeed, you know, if we do draw horizontal demand and supply zone, so here you can see it was the previous high, and it's clear that quite comfortably here. There's some testing here. It's cleared it and it's come back to the previous swing low for some short-term testing here and potential spring type action, and now it's come here, and then this is a recent key level, but it's been cleared quite comfortably here on the 4 hour, so they might clear it again and continue up in the upward trend. And for trading opportunities, so this is the 4 hour to give an idea of the general trend. If you want to put trading opportunities, you can go down to 15-minute and 5-minute, and we see again some classic setups. We see a clear structure with a localized high here and a breakout, and we haven't yet had a retest of this level, but often that's what we see. So we could potentially see a retest at this level at 24.9, 25, and then potentially continue a move up, staying within the 4 hour trend. So BNB has gone ballistic over the last few days from a consistent range up to, well, actually I remember trading this a couple of months ago when it was in the 20s, right? Here you go. Well, in is that right? Is that a year ago? 1503. Yeah, so a year ago it was 9. So you can see even in this quite long trend, this is, let me just get my, yeah, so this is last March, okay, when the price fell. So let's draw a trend channel here. So you can see it's broadly stayed within this trend channel for quite some time, and then it broke out the trend channel. What was resistance became support for a while, which is something we see very common, and then it's broken through at some pace over the last week or so, from about $50, now we're at 70 plus. This is an all-time high, and it's a very rapid increase. So there's really no rules being followed here, apart from the general understanding that after Bitcoin has had a big price rise after a short amount of time, then the alts or the other coins often have a rapid price rise, and that's what we're seeing here. We've seen something a bit similar in Ether, but not quite as dramatic. It's been more consistent. So again, let's draw trend channels. So here we can draw an interesting trend channel all the way from $500 up to 1700, right? It's a consistent rise. It's going to the top and the bottom of the trend channel. And if you look horizontally, we can see some key horizontal levels or zones. So here's a key zone. So I mean, would I draw it all the way up to here? Potentially, because we can see the top of this green candle and this red candle at this retest here, if I zoom in, pretty much came to the exact precise level of this localized high here. And so a breakout retest. I mean, there's many ways of looking at potential setups here. I mean, I always like horizontal structures with breakouts and retests, so that's what we see here. We see a deep developed spring to the bottom of the range, structure, breakout, and a retest to the previous swing high, not to the structure, and it's continuing to the top of the range. So short term, really there's nowhere for it to go apart from the recent high. Otherwise, this action doesn't make any sense if it doesn't reach the recent high. So I expect it to go up here, and then we can look for potential. Then we look at the price action. Is it going to reverse off the top of the trend channel, or would it clear the trend channel? Okay, so give me a couple of ideas of what it can do here. So you can go to the top of the trend channel, and then it could take a slight step back either to here or here. If there is the market pressure to continue, and then it could break the trend channel, retest, and carry on. Or it could equally come to the trend channel and and then come back either to this looks like a recent inside the trend channel. This has been the trend. It could come back here and carry on. It could come back to the bottom. So I'd never make any predictions about what price would do, but just what price can do based on the localized price action. So there's always potential setups here. So next place to look for here would be what happens at the localized high here, and then I would go down to the shorter time frames to look at price action and setups for potential trades. I mean, I have a position. I've been in for a week or so on Ether. I took it at 1485, and I went through this we went through this trade with the mentoring group that I have, and price has gone up and down since then, of course, but it's been a good trade since 1485 to 1700. Again, I have a reasonably medium to long-term view on Ether. Actually, these are the only two ones on Bitcoin and Ether. Probably the only ones I have a reasonable medium to long-term view. The others I view as trading opportunities. So this is just a review of the four main charts that I'm looking at, what they're doing today. And with the key levels that I've drawn, the demand and supply zones, the trend channels, this gives you indications of where to look for price action. It doesn't mean price is going to do exactly what we think it's going to do, because I never make predictions or expect price to do anything, but it gives you parameters for if the price goes somewhere, likely how it's going to go there, right? So if price is likely to go up in Ether, for example, then I've got 2 or 3 scenarios in how it's likely to go up. It might revert to here before continuing, or here or here. So these all then give you key areas to focus on price action. So when I look at price action, I'm going to look at price action here for supply coming in. I'll look at price action here to see supply being absorbed. If it goes past here, I'll look at price action here. If it goes past here, I'll look at price action here. So I'm only going to look at key levels. I don't look at price action if it's not at a key level. And I'm looking for volume to come in. I mean, volume in general, you can see from here to here that in general it's falling, right? So from here to here, you can see in general it's falling. It's not very low at the moment. It's been reasonably consistent from here, but in general it's falling, and that can mean a few things. So normally when we see volume falling in a move up, you can say that demand is perhaps running out of energy, but that's not always the case, especially with crypto, because if it's not low volume, but it's a bit lower than it was here. So that could also indicate that any supply that was opposing the move up here, that supply is exhausted. So a move up can continue on reasonable volume. It doesn't always need high volume. So there's not one easy, straightforward way to interpret what looks like, potentially falling volume on a move up. Things are not always as clear as some of the rules suggest. Okay, so let's have a quick look. Yeah, so Bitcoin's carried on. It was here, right, when we were talking. Was it? I don't know. What time is it now? Okay, it's the hour. Yeah, so it was literally going here, I think, wasn't it, when we were talking, and we were discussing if it's going to break the high. So yeah, and it's done it quite significantly. You can see the increase in volume. Okay, so he's taking it to the top of the trend channel, interestingly, that we had drawn. So it shows the value of trend channels. I mean, price has gone from, you wouldn't expect it in 1 hour to go from here to here, but it has. And effectively it's at the top of the trend channel. Is it going to continue past, I don't know, 43,000? Okay, so is that an all-time high? Yeah, it is. So that's interesting. Just the 5 minutes I decided to make the video, Bitcoin's gone into an all-time high. I mean, I'm already in my positions here. I don't need to take any more longs, but if you were looking at increasing positions in Bitcoin, round about now is a good time to start looking at Bitcoin. So let's look at, I mean, there's been no retest. It's similar to this green candle here, right, where it broke through the range, but it came back into the range. So it's incredibly powerful. So this is 4 hours. So let's look at the 1 hour. I think the 1 hour is just finished. Yes, 1:01 my time. So let's see what the 1 hour is doing. If it's going to load. Okay. Well, Binance is normally quite reliable, even in sharp moves in the market. So maybe it's just my connection is going a bit funny. Is it? Why is it not loading Bitcoin? Okay, so this is the 1 hour. Yeah, there were no retest, no. Well, let's look at the 5 minutes to see if there were any trading opportunities. No, nothing at all. No trading opportunities. Right, everything's just going up and up and up, which crypto can do. Especially Bitcoin can do it. So interestingly, so while I was talking, it's made an all-time high, and you can look at the volume. It's not that high. This is which candle is 8 to 12. So okay, so let me go for 1 hour. So that's going to be a high volume candle. So let's look at the 1 hour. I just want to make sure the volume is high. Yeah, the 1 hour you can see climatic volume. So there was a lot of supply coming in, but it's been overcome. It's broken the all-time high, and so it means something. Often when all-time high is broken, it could consolidate at this level for a while, or it could continue to go up. There's no way knowing with Bitcoin. But yeah, it's an interesting time to be looking at charts. So I'll continue with my review maybe later today or tomorrow, and we'll see what happens.